it's been awesome because I basically did nothing, right? Like I feel like I've been poking people, right? But I didn't physically pick up very many things and put them in places. Or I did, but I only did when people like you asked me to, right? I was like, hey, can I help you with this? Or this person asked me to do that. Can I help you do that thing? Who knows how much longer he'll want to do the problem facilitator, but he won't always be here in any case, right? Eventually, somebody else will have to do the role that he's doing. And I figure we may as well go over how that will happen, because if we don't make a plan for it, it just falls apart. Make sense? Everyone on the same page? Yeah, okay, so that's what this meeting is about. And that's why I said I think it's one of the more important meetings that we've had this entire time that I'm here. Because we're going to, like, together figure out how to take this and replace Samson, replace Lawrence, replace Owen, replace Roy, replace Johnson, and replace Daniel. We don't know if we're going to do all those things right now, but we're going to do at least some of them, and we're going to make a plan for how to do that in the future in a fair way that makes everyone feel included, that is sustainable. Sustainable, not like environment sustainable, but sustainable like you can keep doing this forever, and it keeps growing and doesn't fall apart. Cool. So I asked a couple people before the meeting to just think about governance. This is what we're doing, governance, right? Just like structures and what ways can you think about this so that it goes on and goes forward? So I asked Howard, I think I asked you, Daniel, right? Yeah. So like some things that immediately come to mind. So like ideas. Like very broadly, we have like democracy. That has a lot of good things going for it. It also has some problems. We have dictatorship. We have what's oligarchy, something like that.
Anarchism?
Collective governance, call that, and then anarchy.
Do you know what?
All of these are possibilities.
Do you know what anarchy means?
Yeah, boy. You all know what anarchy means? Basically, where
says Howard who's making all of the weapons.
What's your monarchy? Damn.
What is great? Which one?
Dictatorship.
No government.
Ideas for how we can do this. Like, for example, if this were a democracy, we'd say Daniel no longer wants to run, or there's been some grievance, or Daniel's not going to be in charge anymore. And so he's not here. We have to figure out who's going to replace him. So you have a bunch of people decide, like, who's going to be chosen between, right? So maybe that's going to be Lawrence, Owen, Roy, Samson, and Johnson or something. Or whichever of them want to be, or Kevin, want to be the new leader. The new problem facilitator, which I think is actually a really good name. And at that point, you would have a vote, right? So good things about that, if a lot of people are in favor of a new leader, then that person is in charge. Bad things about that, if there's a few people who have a different opinion or feel hurt by this person or feel like they're being ignored or aren't, have a problem with it for whatever other reason, they're always outvoted. So it doesn't matter how they feel. We always go with how the majority feels. So that's why I say democracy has some good things about it and some bad things. It's often held up as like the governance that works. It's actually sort of bad for a lot of things. Great. So I don't want to go through all these. Dictatorship would be Jaguar says, you're in charge, you're in charge, you're in charge. That's it. Collective governance would be more like we all sit around a table like this, and then we each have a point and we talk about it until we all agree on the same thing. We reach consensus. So, for example, who the next leader would be, or even like what we're going to have for breakfast tomorrow morning. And like it sometimes takes a really long time, but it can be done. You can govern like that. And then finally anarchy, where everyone has a gun, and yeah. So I just want to like take this. I've been talking like I'm in charge of this meeting, which I somehow want to break down. It's hard, but I want people to like say stuff about how they think the makerspace could work, right? So I don't know, just like think about that for a moment. And I wonder, do you happen to have anything that you might want to say on that? No pressure, just like I asked you earlier, I was wondering if you had any thoughts.
I mean, like you said, like I think you saved my life, like all of them. You just said it, like probably like some stuff I don't want to say, but you covered even more than I don't want to say.
Okay, what about like what works here?
I don't quite go through me.
These will work in different places, like in entire nations, or like ancient times, or like small farming communities, or in the future when we have totally different governance. Like each one of them has different strengths. So I'm wondering, like here, in this community, to make this thing work as well as it's been working and to get better. What among those like seems good, and like why? If you have any thoughts on that.
Not really at this point.
None. Okay, sure. It's like super complicated. I've done a lot of thinking about this myself, but not here. This is why I'm asking. It doesn't matter how I feel about it. It doesn't matter what my thought on this is, because I don't know this place. So all I can do is say, this is a complicated problem, and people very frequently, no matter which government structure you choose, people will feel left out, or won't feel heard sometimes. And so you have to recognize that and figure out how to work with it and take it in stride, right? So I'm not trying to write a constitution, but I do want to figure out how we're going to move this around to a new state that's even better than it is now, and then how we're going to think about how to do that in the future. So does anyone have any ideas about how they want to change this diagram? Big question. Let's see. Anyone? Actually, though. I'll give it like 6 seconds of silence.
Shut up, Siri.
This is one. Okay, solid. So I have a recommendation, which is not like how to do this, but just what maybe should happen. Which is, I think that Daniel did an amazing job throughout the time that we're here, and I think it would be great if we could figure out how to empower someone else to do this job, and for Daniel to help them do that job. Does that sound like a reasonable idea for like a transition into the next stage of this group? Because it sets an example for how to transfer leadership. Yes? And you're going to have to do that a lot of times. You have to do that like, there's no limit to the number of times. During the time that you're here, that could happen 10 times, 20 times. Right? And then for people who come after you, it could happen a lot more times. So, yeah, we just have to like do it carefully and think about it. I can help you. I can try to help you. But it's better if you facilitate or think about it. So, Daniel, do you have any ideas about this?
I am thinking about not adding something to that, because I sometimes go on the Moonshot WeChat thing, and sometimes we'll have like employee forums, and there's one line that says like, if none of the above things fits you, but you think your talent is going to be used here, call us. So I think maybe we should like make a poster or something that says, if you find out that Makerspace currently have some problem, or you see that some kind of things can be, some kinds of positions can be transformed, and you want to be responsible for that, you can come to that. So yeah.
So it's kind of like advertising our openness to new leadership? Is that
Kind of.
how we do it? So like if someone were to respond to that poster, what would they do? Would they talk to you? So in this current situation, would they talk to you? Well, they won't talk to like a guardian or anything, right? Because like we don't do this. Like I'm going to help you figure out how to do this in a way that works well in my own mind that I think is good, but like we don't run the space. So so they'd have to go to someone on this chart or on a different chart, right? Yeah. So would that be the top person? Whoever's like in charge, if you have one person in charge? Yeah. I guess weird question. Let's see. We had one job to do. We're going to clean up the makerspace. For that, it's a really good structure to have one person in charge who keeps track of the details. You got a few people who take different domains, and each one of them reports up and also manages downward. Awesome structure for that.
The only person who is responsible for everything in the space, or they're kind of like in this level or that level?
This one. Okay. So this chart doesn't have to exist anymore. But the whole thing can just be gone. And so what I'm asking about is even the fact that, see all these arrows, they all come together, and eventually they arrive at one person. So I'm asking whether there should even be one person at the top. Yeah. Or should eventually those arrows converge and they get to a group of people who share responsibility. But then all have to talk to each other really effectively. Make sense? Like they all have to be really tightly together if they're gonna like think together about how to make the space work. But if one of them is missing, that's okay. Great. So we do the same thing again without understanding. So like people who think that one person should be in charge, or like the final authority. Okay, I think it's a good structure sometimes. So no shame. Okay, people who think that we should have more than one person. Okay, so it sounds like this just became this. So Daniel, someone else, maybe a fourth person. Great. So basically, what I just did there was democracy, right? Where the few people who felt like we should have one person in charge because that's a good structure now are overruled, right? So how do those people feel? You were one person, right? What do you think about? Oh yeah. What's up?
They can't.
You also.
No, they raised their hands for one person.
Got it. Okay, cool. But yeah, what was your thought?
I think one person somehow owns the makerspace, makes it more efficiently because you have different people when making like opinions, and they have different opinions, and they will have some conflict in the future maybe. So one person in charge of the whole makerspace will be kind of like easier. And more efficient.
And that person can like change over time, right?
Yeah.
But having one person at a time.
At a time, right?
Yeah. Okay. Other people? These folks?
Yeah, I guess I have a concern that after seeing how effective it was with Daniel as the...
Sorry, start that again?
Yeah, okay. Should I come down there or stay up here?
It's okay.
Okay. So it was really amazing to see how this structure worked so well. And I guess one concern I have is that if people have sharing responsibility, as you guys get really, really busy for like other classes, other responsibilities, other tasks you have, that the communication between those top group of people would break down, and then the makerspace would just stand still and not do anything, because no one knows who is leading who, or the people who are leading can't talk to each other.
Sorry, actually, who thinks that could happen in the makerspace? Okay, interesting. And who thinks that won't happen in the makerspace? Okay, so many people don't have formed opinions about that, and that's okay. Can you keep going? Or is that's all?
I guess another concern, or just a thought, is just I don't know if there's enough people to have more than one at the top.
Good call. The cleanup effort took a ton of hands. Like, a lot of people had to be involved. But running this space will take fewer people than that. Right? I think that's true. So, there were a lot more people here, right? These people directed lots of people, including myself and Trevor. So, this diagram is just a little group of people. But you can imagine where maybe fewer people even that are even named or have roles, right? And then like they just talk to people and keep the space clean. They make sure people are wearing safety glasses. They make sure the power tools are trained, that kind of thing.
I guess I have another
Go.
I have another one. But that's it.
I have more too.
I had lost it.
Okay, that's fine.
Can I
Interrupt you?
Okay.
Yeah, so Roy, actually, I wanted to ask you, because you're also included in the very top here. Do you have any thoughts about how this might work?
I don't have any idea about like one guy who's in charge of the makerspace. I think maybe we can share the responsibilities. Like he's in charge of this, so that it's kind of easier. It might like if you have issue or something, and then maybe you'll call it like 2 or 3 guy. But I think it will be like better than one.
What do you think about
was how I was raising hands for multi-leaders.
So I thought of that as kind of like this group of people, right? Where like if you have an issue, then you can reach out to some group of people who are kind of in charge. But then we still had Daniel, who was like working on making sure that those people showed up to meetings and that they like did their jobs basically, or checked in with them to make sure they were feeling okay about their jobs as well, right? That they weren't too busy.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, do you think that, I hope it's okay I bring this up, Daniel, but I think it's a very open question. Like, do you feel that Daniel did something wrong during the time, or something that made you feel uncomfortable during the time that he's been the problem facilitator so far?
And Daniel, can you leave the room? Yeah. I'll come get you.
I just remind of something. So basically, like yesterday and the day before yesterday, kind of like I entered the makerspace for just taking my project upstairs. So he was like, kind of like, he's extremely follows the rules, and it's kind of like, well, that makes me kind of feel like when I entered here, and like there's some guys like it's like smoothing the wood, was like sawing the wood or something. And I would just come here and take some PVC tubes and go. He was like, well, get out. Kind of like that. And he was like, if you come in, you must wear safety glasses. And like, there's like sensors sitting 5 meters away and he's wearing safety glasses. And I was like, what? And then, I mean like, it's good to follow the rules, but I think he's kind of like a bit overreacted or something. Maybe he's just kind of overprotective. I don't know about this, but I think he will get used to it because he's kind of like strictly following the rules, kind of like that.
What is the rule said? I'd like to know what is the rule said. Did it say that if there's someone using that machine inside makerspace, then everyone in the makerspace should wear glasses, or something else?
Wait, before we answer that question, what do you mean? What did the rules say? We don't have the rules written down anywhere.
Yeah, well, about this case, I remember that Dana was there too, right? And I was there too. So Dana said something about the wooden bricks that he was trying to cut off, and we'll kind of like shoot it elsewhere. So he like reminded us to wear the safety glasses just in case if that happens. And it wasn't a rule. It's just something we were talking about.
In that moment.
Yeah, that moment.
So it's possible to make a system where you just write every rule, right? That might be what we're used to, that you're like supposed to have rules that you follow. But we were doing something different where you have one person in charge of keeping everyone safe, and they make judgment calls, like right now we're going to need safety glasses because I'm using the chop saw and things could ricochet around the room, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's what happened there.
Right.
So there's no rule written.
Yeah, it wasn't a rule.
Yeah. So does that make you uncomfortable, or does that seem like it won't last?
I mean, I only want to find a quick way to solve this problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the reason I'm asking is basically if a lot of you vote for... Oh, did you want to say something?
Well, you can say first.
Yeah, the reason why I ask this question, if a lot of you vote for we should not have one leader in charge, like think the makerspace president or whatever you want to call it, or the problem facilitator, do you think that there's a way that that person might listen to your feedback, or is it sounds now like people have not given feedback to the leader about how they can change as a leader? Do you think still it can be an effective role if that person was open to feedback and it was an open climate to give suggestions?
Yep.
So it seems like the reason why you want to have not one leader is because you think that the leader might do some things that make you feel uncomfortable and you have no way to change that. But then can you figure out a way that you can affect that? It's just something I wanted to bring up as a point.
And it's related to your question too, right? Like, what do you do when you don't know?
Do you guys want to invite Daniel again, or?
Also, yeah. So about the school bus, I can assure you guys that we can get taxis for you back to your dorm at any time you want after this meeting ends. But if you want to go to the school bus now, you're more than welcome to. But I guess I want to ask you guys if you think this is valuable enough to stay, and then we can get taxis free.
Great. And I want to say, like, if not, then I have a suggestion that's much faster. But let's go for it.
Because Dana will be. This is the last time you're going to see Dana.
I'm gonna be gone. So this has been amazing, but I'm out.
Second.
Well, no one coming out like.
Where's Daniel?
Great. Yeah. Did we get Daniel?
Yeah,
Can we bring him back in? Yeah. So just to update Daniel, like we were talking about what to do when you don't know about something, and then like whether that involves having rules written down or whether it involves having some kind of facilitator. It's similar to the way that you did it, right? If there's misunderstandings, that's what you do. Yeah. Great. So basically, we're just saying, who thinks this is worth your time to do this right now? Okay. Does that mean you want to stay a little bit longer and then we'll get taxis?
Yep.
Sound good to you? Okay. Nice. All right. How long do you want to spend on this? Say, for example, another hour. Like, is that okay? In the case that they don't end up, still want to do their jobs, right? Because that's important too. You don't want people leading you who just don't even want to lead. That is not exciting for anyone. Great. So how do you feel about that, then? Great. Would you want to take on other leadership if you were to not be problem facilitator anymore? Okay, great. So you're in the running. Awesome.
And what?
You're in the running. So they say you're available to be a leader. It's like kind of, or like you'd be interested in being a leader. That's okay. Okay. That's beside the point. So let's replace Daniel. Ideas for how we should do that.
Sure.
And at this point, I think I will hand it off. If you're comfortable, can I give it to you, Daniel, to facilitate this?
Me?
Yes, partially because if I do it in English, it'll take way too long. If you're not, I can still do it, but
I'm not sure how to facilitate this kind of meeting.
yeah, neither am I. Well, so like I've done this before, but I've never run a meta meeting where we decide how we're going to decide with the new person, right? So what I want to see, my perspective is just like, what do you guys do by yourselves? If you just like say, hey, figure it out, replace, right? Like what happens, and then we can talk about that. But we've got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe could you just improvise? See what happens.
Maybe.
All right. Make sure you're asking for feedback from people all the time to see if they like what you're doing. And other than that,
In Chinese?
Yeah, can't go wrong. I'd love a report when you're done, but if you're willing to start that, I would be thrilled.
Chinese? 行吧。所以这个怎么办？
我有一个想法，就我觉得可以这样，就比如说我们就比如说 Makerspace 可以给我们提供不同的什么服务。那比如说它可以是像 Peter 在那边做那个拿纸板做的什么东西，或者说是博昂的拿木头做的什么东西。那么如果有一个人他在 Makerspace， 比如说现在 Peter 他用纸板做的东西做的最多，那么关于纸板的这一块就应该由他来管。我觉得可以通过这种方法来确定是谁来管某一小块，但是就是一个总体的一个管理者的确定，我还没有什么比较好的想法。
我有个提议，就是说我们一定要保持一个唯一的领袖，因为通常因为 Makerspace 它包含不同材料、不同方式制作，所以我们需要一个领袖去能看到在不同领域上面的交互，能有一个领袖来完成它的链接。就像这个它下面可以有不同人去负责不同部分，然后他们去沟通，但是一旦有一些交互上的问题，可以由这个领袖来做。然后我不同意那个Samsung 的意见，原因是不是所有的人都希望去 in charge 的，可能他只是喜欢来这儿做，但是他不一定能够对 Makerspace 有足够了解，所以我觉得还是需要内部人去进行。
我们现在讨论的是什么？是如何去 replace。
对，我只是提出了一个，我觉得这个对你合适，我觉得还是不能说是。
那现在说的已经就是换一个人就换他。
对，
对，现在说的是换这个，还是现在的 diagram， 但是要换，所以如何去实行换这个步骤？
就这样很简单嘛，就大家几个人谁想当那个 leader，谁举手自荐一下，大家投个票。
对。
那如果没有人呢？
没有人的话，那就
没有人还就续约嘛。
那就续约嘛。
对啊。所以我们还是选择这个方式。来吧，先试试。
痛快点，谁想当
对啊，
leader？
但实际上，其实我觉得，
没有实际上，就谁想当。
我觉得是不是可以不一定要续任这个，就可以不用续任，我觉得还是让大家都有些机会，有多少？
那你看这块有人想？
那你先看谁想当 leader。
讨论了吗？
你会建议刚跟你说的那
单纯就是谁想当 leader。
谁看谁想当 leader？你想当吗？
我想。
那你举手啊！你举手，你想当 leader，你还有人吗？还有别人吗？没有，那你当就完事了嘛。
别搭。
不对，那同意吗？
对，大家同意嘛？同意。
我也举个手。
我同意啊，我同意啊。
同意啊。
当然。
用全票通过，那你就当。
我。行。
好。OK，
哎，有没有弹劾这种制度？就是如果你不行，觉得不行的话，
对，不行
就拉，不行可以换，
就是可以大家。
如果所有人进行投票的话，就可以换。我只是
那多久换一次？
我就比如
就是如果你们觉得我不合适，就是可以直接发起，大家去讨论就换。
可以啊，是这样的。
Okay. So he's the only one who wants to be problem facilitator, and everyone agrees. So we're done.
So that is good government. Congratulations. Wait, actually though, so you're going to be the new problem facilitator?
Right, I'll sign it up for it.
Great, okay, great. Could we have Lawrence, Helen, and Roy explain what they did to this in this process to our new problem facilitator? Is that cool? In that order? Helen, or sorry, yeah, Lawrence.
我做的就是负责这些就是电子模块的事情。然后其实我只在一开始做了一个比较就是说可能跟大家说一下我们可能分东西的逻辑，然后我分了一部分贴了一些标签，然后还有很大一部分都是大家一起完成。
So I'm going to say that Lawrence did a ton of work manually, like by himself, just like putting electronic components into places, right, and just organizing stuff on the ground. It took like a huge job that I basically made for him by like putting stuff out, and like just did it like a machine. And he also got a bunch of people to help him.
So you do understand Chinese?
No, I have no idea what he said.
That was like 8% correct. That was like 8% correct.
That's what he said?
Yeah.
Hey, perfect. Okay, no, seriously, I just made that up. So basically what I'm saying, what I want to tell you is what cool things Lawrence did, and it seems like he's told you already. So, great. Wait, seriously?
Yeah, it's different.
You're like, oh, you understand Chinese. Alright, great. Could we have Helen do it?
Okay, so basically what I did is like organize like the tools, mainly like the kind of stuff on the shelf. That kind of tools on the shelf, and probably like all the small parts and maybe like all the paper rolls and all the baby stuff that you might use. At least for like handcrafting stuff. So around here, basically all the big ones and small ones, like I organize, like I know most of them how to work. Pretty much this is it.
Wait, let me. So basically, in this map, like, how when you're in charge of materials and project, are like, is this problem like is this like pictures having some problem or just you and Roy have something like mixed together? And basically, you in this map, like, you're in charge of materials and project.
就是你们俩都负责 materials.
Yeah. But so are you still going to in charge of materials or in charge of going to in charge of tools?
And you don't have to answer these questions like
Yeah, like-
perfectly on like the first time, right? This is a process where we work out
Like, just-
collective works.
你看，你确认一下，就是你之后你还想就是如果之后
想不想继续？
如果你是需要继续在这个部分的话，你是继续要负责工具部分还是要负责材料？因为
这样不一。
他可以
不是材料，
他可以先不回答，你先问一下，你先问若的。
而且等会
他可以先不回答。
OK，然后我是 in charge of tools，
然后把那边跟 Daniel 把那个都给放上去了，然后把这里分成就是第一层、第二层、第三层，然后把那些 project 给放上面，然后之后把这边因为要展出了，所以都清理一下，然后把那些就是电子的那些 tools 都给放到原来放这儿，然后现在应该搬那个。
I'm also interested in how people felt about their jobs. Can you ask the two folks that question? Like, how did you feel about like, I want to know how leading this felt. Whether they felt, for example, abandoned, or if they felt like they were totally in control of it, like that they were actualized, and they felt like they grew doing it, or something in between. Right?
所以你三感觉怎么样？
你刚刚说。
OK， 反正我觉得就是说整理这些工具的话，还有就是就比如说嘛，就是因为我基本上在这2周，主要最后1周我2个我都报课了，然后我是怎么觉得呢？来这边做东西人太多了，做完东西他们就扔那块儿了，然后有些人也是个老毛病，老问题，就是说他们东西拿了以后，他们不放过来，或者说放在一个什么 random place。然后我们就找不着呗，然后我觉得这是一个问题，但我觉得除了这两个主要的问题，其他我觉得还好，能把这2个问题解决就好。
Can you give a rough translation? Well, can you give a rough translation?
So he's saying like, for like last week, like people are going, like a lot of people are going here and like doing stuff, but they just put their materials, their stuff, or their tools anywhere, like so. Our people can find those tools and put them back to the shelf. We can't find those tools, and those tools are put everywhere. So this is the part that makes me feel like kind of noisy.
Kind of
And noisy.
I see.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff. Yeah, Lousy? Oh, okay, cool. Great. So it sounds like not a good experience.
Yeah. Well, maybe in the future, like, less people are working there. That's last week our celebration.
Sounds like Colin actually didn't like his job very much.
你不知道，你问他，你对你喜欢做的工作还不想做的工作，你就说喜欢。
我想。
你喜欢不喜欢？
喜欢。
喜欢的时候一直在
I like it, but I'm just pointing out the problem. Yeah, I'm just pointing out a problem that we can solve it soon, but I like the job.
下一个那个林英德。
对，然后就是我工作一开始给我的感觉就是说，好像我指着一个方向，然后有一个巨大力就把我拖上去了，就是那种感觉。然后就是其实感觉那一堆要整理的东西特别多，但是就人多力量大，所以大家很快就整理完了。然后之后就是之后的那段时间，其实我是感觉我们这个就是我这个职位岗位可能没有很多的，就是会在实际上会有帮助的这个，因为大家如果好像要用这些东西的话，他们可能也会用，所以说我们可能顶多起到就是说告诉他们在哪这样的一个作用，但其实有时候可能也用不到，因为基本上没人来找我们。所以我感觉我还挺喜欢这个工作，只不过现在没有什么用，我们可能要加大让大家了解这个。
所以希望做更多。
Yeah.
最后一句是啥？
就是说大家了解这个太少，基本上没有什么人来找我。
Actually, before we go on to Roy, could Daniel give some comments about how this is going? In this meeting? Just your opinion.
I realized like when I was doing a problem facilitator, sometimes I was getting kind of mixed Howard and Roy, because actually they at first when we had the meeting outside there at one day noon, and they said like they want to get to focus on tools and materials, and Howard also says like he has some ideas in managing projects in Makerspace, but like in reality it seems like their job is getting pretty mixed. I don't know if it is good or bad, but it is like not very clear at this point.
Jonathan, welcome.
What?
Do you want to continue?
Yeah, of course.
Should we just
Could I borrow something better real quick before I leave? 因为明天不在嘛。
You're good for a couple. Yeah, no, good.
Okay, can I borrow you just two?
所以，我一直在做就是，其实就把那些东西可以整理，所以我觉得我之后一起做最多就是，整理一些 tools，然后大概把 tools 能够让，像之前浩文说的问题，就是，会到处扔，然后我们会做一些关于这些方面的调整，然后也许会把一些比如说半成品，然后一些纯的 material 或者已经做完的 project 都给稍微给调整，就是把它能够放到一些正确位置，然后差不多做这些，然后就未来还做还算一些设计。
所以你觉得
你喜欢吗？
挺喜欢的？
还可以。
那之后，你们两个对这个你们工作相对而言比较重叠，有什么想法吗？你希望是以后一起合作呢，还是说再把自己的领域划得分开一些？
领域划得分开一些，我。以及提高来这边人的意识。So what I want to do is like to separate our jobs like more clearly, and also to raise people's aware of coming to the space and building stuff, and well, the principles of the space, you know, just like cleaning up after you're doing a project.
So I need Dan for the next part. So I think I actually need to interpret what I'm doing.
我想 echo 一下就是和我那边，然后就是我觉得大家可以在我们每个 part 上面做一些，就比如说有些 tools 可能很多人不知道怎么用，然后他们来的时候可能他们其实也会很疑惑这件事情，所以我觉得可能可以把这个，我们会有 makerspace 会有这样一些人去教他们，或者我们有这样的使用说明。
So I have some questions for people. I always have questions. Helen, would you like to keep being a leader for the makerspace?
I thought we decided to have Kevin as leader.
Kevin as leader of... Oh, of everything. No,
Yeah.
I mean being a leader. Someone who leads other people, not necessarily the leader, the person in charge, but you are a leader. You have been a very effective leader throughout this 2 weeks. So I'm wondering, would you like to continue being a leader in some capacity at the makerspace?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay, great. Roy, would you like to continue being a leader in the makerspace? Sorry, Roy, there you go. Yes? Okay, cool. And Lawrence, would you like to be?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We also know that Daniel would like to be a leader in the makerspace. Great. So this diagram, because everyone still wants to be a leader, we do not want to lose leaders because, oh my god, they're your most valuable resource that you've ever had in your life. Adding Daniel to this diagram. Back again. Cool. So this is like, Daniel's no longer here. Problem Facilitator is now filled by Kevin.
KABONG.
Oh, sorry, can you read it?
It's kind of the same.
Kevin like.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever got this the whole time, sorry. Alright. Great, thanks. So we need to figure out, these are no longer necessarily the roles we're using, because we just decided that the things were crossed and confused, right? We don't know who's in charge of tools or who's in charge of materials projects, whatever. So I think I would like you to figure out how to reorganize these with these people's help so that they make more sense and include Daniel as an important leader. Cool? Alright.
So since now we have 4 leaders in 4 parts. So do you guys have any things trying to say? Like any suggestion?
Even like suggestions towards like which field or folder.
Yeah, that can be one thing. And the next thing is like what kind of system can we work with? Like,
This is not just to the 4 of you, this is to everyone.
yeah.
定期，但不用太频繁有 group meeting。当然，这可能是建立在说我们会有想说我们达成一些目标，就是像刚刚说的，让更多人来到 maker space， 或者是说我们让更多人去使用工具和使用这些材料。所以说我们需要有一些人或者是一部分人负责工具的使用。现在不是我们我意思对，就是说，首先你们 Lawrence 讨论的话 ，Roy 你希不希望就是 Lawrence 需不需要继续做你之前这个项目？就是说你们3个希望说重新换，还是你们希望保留之前的这个安排？我想保留，谈一圈再具体讨论。对，我觉得，对，先讨论以后怎么工作方式。就是现在我们不是有4个，像是副组长一样的，分别应该负责是4个部分，或者是一个什么样的方式。然后，首先大家可以先谈一谈大家对这个畅想。基本上，比如说我们是有几个人去做什么，有人去负责什么样的部分，或者有什么样的想法，可以随便说。之后呢，我们可以决定一下，说到底谁应该来负责哪个部分，这样一个流程。所以大家现在有什么对于职位或者是一个工作系统的一个想法，可以先说出来。所有人可以说。
Also, the only person who we don't know about yet, or who would like, these were the roles before. We don't know what Daniel's good at though, what he likes, right? Maybe some of you do, but not everyone. So, could you talk about that a bit?
About what?
What you're good at, what you like, what sort of thing you might be good at leading.
Basically, in last semester, I made the first version of the tool on this shelf, and I am kind of in charge of the electronic stuff before it came, but I maybe like the most important thing I want to do is to ensure safety use of those tools in the makerspace, because as far as I know, not all of you guys can use the tool safely and correctly. So, and maybe others, I'm not confident that others outside the makerspace will know how to use these tools, so maybe some dangerous things could happen. So I want to make sure that that kind of thing, the possibility of that kind of thing will be very low.
Daniel's good at a lot of stuff. I'm interested in safety. Do you want to keep going?
所以你是还有什么想法吗？对后面这4个。如果没有的话，我们是不是可以往下进行？就是我们大家可以提出一下有哪些方面是需要我们去做的，比如说去整理工具，比如说安全方面，比如说材料的整理，我们可以先提出一下这样的需求，然后之后我们找人去负责不同的方面。觉得 OK 吗 ？OK。
Before you do that, that might be because we won't be able to do it now.
Cherry, welcome.
Anything you say right now, we won't be able to do it immediately because you're all leaving. Right? So this is an awesome meeting to have when you get back. Because then you can say, all right, let's do it. You're going to be in charge of that. Because when you get back, you don't even know if people still want to do this, right? So just get everything organized so what you're physically going to do then. But what I'm worried about is just knowing who's going to organize and who's going to get people to come to meetings and who's going to think about what things we should do together, right? So I think what I'd like as an outcome for this meeting is, well, two things really, but the first is for you personally to just redraw that diagram for yourself with a proposal that isn't perfect, but that works for everyone here for now, for how the roles should break down, and say that it can change, right? Because you won't get it perfect the first time, and things will be different when you get back a level, right? So I wouldn't try to get set in this, but let's try to get something basic.
Alright, so only gonna have a draft for it.
Yeah, but like just headings of what they do.
你开始画吧。刚才说要做什么那一部分直接画一个。
好，那我首先
拿出你的笔。
拿出这个。很大。So problem facilitator.
Yeah, problem facilitator.
Okay. I thought.
Yes. Feels like it's not a leader. Problem facilitator.
How's that?
Let's put ethics here.
FAC.
Yeah.
Dot. Alright, so I have 4 part, which is wait, I spelled wrong. Oh.
T-M-A-T-E-R-I-A-L. You know, right? You've done this.
Safe. No, I said it as safe.
Electronic. It's okay.
Oh.
Everyone knows what it means.
Oh, okay. For now, just set it as safety, alright? Is that okay? Right? So for now, let's just set Daniel as safety and others keep as what they did before. Is that okay? Do you feel like
opinion?
do you have any?
So the field of how it can roll is something can
Yeah. So now we have materials and tools. So think for now we can we separate you 12 you like into different jobs for now? Like how will Roy which part do you be? Tools or materials?
I'm gonna work on tools.
So how long so is that okay with you? Like you working on the materials and how long?
That's awesome. I think what KABONG just did checking in with Roy is like really, really important. Just want to throw that.
What about projects? How do we do it? Finished project, unfinished project, either project. That is all over the space.
So do any of you have any issues for projects? Because actually I have one. Like since
Just a reminder, I want to talk about like the project, the rule of managing project now. So basically now we have we said that on this floor is for not unfinished project, third floor for finished / ended project, and open bookshelf, that part. They can use some blocks for finished project like an exhibition block. This is the current way distribution of the projects all over Makerspace.
I'm reminded that Roy basically picked which cells would be the exhibition ones, and that you decided which shelves would be which, right? Way back when?
On shows.
Yeah, you did. And so I think that's where that came from. You too.
since last time Roy is in charge of the product, so do you want to still keeping on in charge of this for now?
Yeah.
Or and if you want to be a part of this, like in charge of this?
But does you think tools and project together makes too big a job, or do you think it's a good job?
I think tool and projects, like I think materials and project there are too many jobs, too many works to do.
Respectfully, Daniel knows. So I'm asking him.
Yeah, like
Because he just ran this whole thing. That's
actually I just want to separate the job like two. So I don't want everybody like have too many jobs to do, like let them like be too busy.
I think it's good to separate it, but like maybe we should also have some people that can be like not kind of in charge of, but also knows about. So for example, now Lawrence is about is in charge of electronics, but he's not always here, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody is trying to having a question about electronics, but they cannot find Lawrence, we can have Samsung here also. Like he knows about electronics, but he doesn't need to be to the level of in charge of, so that people also knows when they can find either of them when they have a big question.
So I have a suggestion like, so I think everyone knows the policies of project, like this basically this like unfinished product here, like kind of some power materials here, finished product out there. So can we all ask like people who know about this policy and everybody kind of in charge of this problem? So don't need another person to in charge of it. It seems it's a good suggestion.
adding a new person, adding a new leader.
No, I mean like everybody here is in charge of this.
What do you think?
So we don't need anyone to be in
No,
charge.
I think it's a good idea.
Do you think this organizational scheme will work? Not work? Good. Easy?
I'm not sure.
所以 charge 应该是就是说那个应该就是他算是 owner， 但他不一定要做所有事情，他只是为这个部分负责任 in charge。但他所有那个他这里面所有人都跟他共同都是一模一样，而且他们都在为同一个目标而
做决定。
那你做决定就好了。
那我来做决定。
对啊。
你觉得可以吗？就是我来负责 project 这个东西。
So
或者你们希望，我觉得应该
he's not saying.
不是，就大家在的时候大家都决定了，大家不在的时候你
就我来做。
对吗？
觉得这个可以吗？
我觉得可以。
我觉得可以。
投吧。投票吧。你们觉得大哥的意见是否可行？也就是大家在的时候 project 作为一个大家共同管理，如果大家都不在的话，就是我来去做这个决定。OK 吗？
OK。
我有个问题。
好。说。
就是假如说你做这个决定是你来为这个决定负责，还是那个人为这个决定负责？
就是我肯定是为这个决定负责。
那
就是什么叫那个人？
就是那个负责那，比如他有4个块，然后有人为那个，比如说有一个什么叫 in charge 还是
什么？
你不是有在说一个什么 in charge， 就是为那个什么什么板块负责的这样的意思。
就是我们再说一个关于 project
Right. So, this is amazing, but it's taking too long. So, Harlan, how are you doing?
I'm just really sleepy and like getting on the point and just waiting for conclusion.
Exactly. Okay, so you also have to go to dinner, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. So, that definition definitely needs to happen, so everyone knows what's going on. I think so there's some things that Daniel has come up with and definitions that he's worked with that are common to everyone here already, and that you don't need to redo, because a lot of work has been done already. So, I think...
So you basically just follow the science?
Nope, but I mean, I would talk to Daniel about which things exist and which don't, kind of the subtleties of what we're doing here, because there's a lot that isn't written here. Like there's just a lot to doing this job, and it has a lot to do with how you communicate with people and who actually does the work versus who is in charge of the work. Those are different, right? And that sort of thing. So over time, you'll inherit all of Daniel's duties, but for now, Daniel really knows how to do this.
Alina, welcome.
So my final assignment to all of you is for you to work closely with Daniel to figure out a suitable distribution of roles now that you've talked to these folks and you have some general idea, right? Yeah. And then propose it to these people when you get back. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Does that sound like a good solution?
What do we get back, like next semester?
Next semester. Or the next time that you're all here together in the makerspace.
Then that's next semester.
Next semester? Yeah, exactly.
Why not?
Well, it's hard, right? This is a rough time because like we need to somehow bridge the gap between now and all the way then. But it's easy, right? We just have to do this, keep it in mind, and then when we're done, take out this piece of paper, say like, let's finish this. Yep. Okay, great. So I think you have enough information?
Yep.
Okay, so that means that you all can get ready to make a judgment of how well KABONG has done on the thing and give feedback to him, and he can talk to Daniel to evaluate that feedback too. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Daniel's going to advise KABONG. Everyone else, we'll find out. Okay,
What do you mean
before we go.
advise?
What?
Sorry. What do you mean advice?
Advise. Just talk to and give advice to.
Okay.
Kind of like a mentor, kind of like a friend, just someone who knows stuff.
Mentor.
Yeah, no, really though. Well, kind of in a sense, right? Like Daniel moves up here. He's no longer acting leader, but he still knows how to do this. He's been here the whole time. KABONG comes in. Watch this. So Daniel's here, right? KABONG now comes in, but doesn't know how to run this place yet.
Yeah.
Right. You will learn. You will learn very fast, but you don't yet know how to run it. And so Daniel will help KABONG understand how this works, and then KABONG, once he's in charge, will change things. Right, make changes, make things more efficient, reorganize. Cool?
Okay.
Alright, awesome. One last thing to do before we break, which is out here. Okay? So everyone move out here.
The birth of the government.
Hey, Aubrey, can you help me?
This is really cool.
Please certify Holland in reading this game. And everyone's gonna listen.
You mean certify? Like he can put my name on it?
Yes.
That kind of certify.
Unless you don't feel that he's gotten all the way there, in which case we won't. But that's the objective, yes.
Okay. So basically, this is the matrix of certification to teach, in which shows the so basically the role on the top is different skills. For example, reading this matrix, updating the matrix, power drills, hacksaw, jigsaw. Like these are all skills that you are going to need or you're going to use in makerspace. But sometimes like when there is one person that comes to the makerspace doesn't know how to use, he doesn't have the skills. So here he wants to find someone that knows knows the skill and is able, and it is certified, it is certificated to teach him. And the column here is our names. So basically this thing work like this. Let me see. So for example, we have, let me see.
I have a suggestion. Do you want to try doing this in Chinese so they understand it better? Or
行 ，OK。对，就是这样的。比如说，你看 Aubrey 那个横栏，然后第一个竖旁是不是 reading the matrix 那个 skill，然后上面跳个名字叫 Dana，说明 Aubrey 是从 Dana 这里学到了 reading the matrix 这项技能。然后，但是重点在于他就是 Aubrey 之所以能 put Dana 这个名字在上面是因为他不仅从 Dana 这里学了这个东西怎么用，而且他还有 ability， 他还有能力去教别人。所以有双重的含义。然后我那一栏的话，下面那行是 贴了个 Aubrey， 说明我是从 Aubrey 那边学了这个技能，然后我现在有能力去教你。所以这就是 the basic meaning of the matrix。
两个暴露吗？
啊？
对，
这个还没有说，还没有说。就是但是它的意义在于，你有了这项东西之后，比如说有人想学 reading this matrix， 他看到这个想学这项技能的话，他就可以看 reading the matrix 这一竖行，然后看上面贴了哪些名字。比如说他贴了 Dana， 贴了 Aubrey， 说明他既可以去找 Dana 学，也可以去找 Aubrey 学。然后发现我那一栏贴了 Aubrey 的名字，说明我也学会了并且可以去教别人这项技能，所以他也可以来找我学。这样的话就构成了一整条，就是相当于互相教别人的一个链。然后当你学会了这项技能，并且你还得到了验证，就是你还可以教别人技能的时候，你就可以把教你那个人的名字贴在这个 matrix。但是这里面出现的名字仅仅是在 Moonshot 里面的，就是如果是在 Moonshot 外的话，贴自己的名字就可以。比如说你看，抱我那栏有3个宝宝，就是他在 Moonshot 外面就学了我这个技能。Works like this。
对。
What's that? I finished this one.
Okay.
Sorry.
So do you think that Holland can perfectly explain that concept to anyone?
So we have to check. 所以我现在说了一遍这个 matrix 到底是怎么做的，然后我Howard， 我现在想就是检验一下，就是我相信你已经明白了这套是怎么运行的，
你就再讲一遍。
但是你要能够把我们给讲，所以你就要那个思路。
那基本上就是呢，左边是人名字，然后你看右边这些，然后右上面那一排就是像那些工具的名字，然后你看底下，比如说拿我这一块儿，然后举个例子吧，Holland 这块儿，然后是 Aubrey 教过我怎么用这个 hacksaw， 基本就是说，就是在右边这些在工具底下的名字是他的怎么，就是这个人教会了左边这个名字叫他，然后怎么用这个工具。
我补充一下，从外面学的就直接贴自己名字就好了，就这样。
OK。其实说的还不够多，就是
还
有几点。一个是关于，如果你教会了别人，别人可以在他的那个就是你教会了别人，仅仅教会别人是不够的，教会了别人不能让他在他那栏贴上你的名字。唯一让他贴上你的名字的方法是你要去验证他学到这个东西，并且是可以去教别人。因为你学会怎么用是一回事，但你教别人的时候你要说注意事项是另外一回事。所以要把这个事情也讲出来。讲完这个，应该还有一个就是关于 update 的事情，他学会了这项技能，并且你确认了他可以去有了教别人的 skill 之后，才可以把名字贴上去。第3点是要说一下这个 matrix 的意义，就是为什么我们要做这个东西，就是构造一个 chain platform。对。所以还是。
Is everything okay?
He missed some points.
I see. Okay. Well, we should probably talk about it again sometime soon. But he'll be here next semester, right?
Yeah.
And anyway, I think people largely now understand if you need to learn how to use the jigsaw, you can ask Bao Bao. If you need to learn how to use the hacksaw, you can ask Aubrey, Dana, or Bao Bao, right?
Yeah.
In fact, you can ask Helen, Aubrey, Dana, or Bao Bao. See?
Yeah.
Great. So that's it for now. I think that's good for everybody. And then later you can make extra special sure that Holland can explain it to anyone. And then he can start explaining it to everyone. Right? Awesome. Okay, cool. That does it, I think. So this is a new tool that Jaguar, Aubrey, and I developed. And we're just going to kind of like put it here. It is up to you whether you actually want to use it. I like it. I think it's cool. But I'm not going to be here, so who cares? But yeah, if you you enjoy it, if you think it's a valuable tool, then totally use it and update it, or learn how to update it, then update it. And yeah, sound good? Okay, cool. So I think we have a leadership structure for next time. Right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. And we have a leader. And we have an advisor to the leader. And for problem facilitator, we have a problem facilitator. Thank you. Seriously though, actually, excellent point. Problem facilitator, not leader. That's your job. That's actually any leader's job. It's actually to be a problem facilitator. But people sometimes think it means get up in front of people and say, speak your mind, tell me the thing, right? It's not always. It's more like, what is your issue? Can I help you get to the next stage of what you're doing? Cool? Okay,
Cool.
great. You may never see me again. So, I really hope you've enjoyed the time I've had here. Please fill out the survey about me, I guess, so I can get more information about how you all received my name here. And make sure I work for the name. And that's it.
Alright. Thank you.
Cool.
And maybe
Governance! What?
do remember to use the WeChat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I have one thing to say. So today at 1:30 we had the Will had scheduled for a Maker Place reflection. And while Daniel was here, these 2 weeks, he was like poking you guys, and you guys built this structure, this governance structure. So when I first opened this experience to have Maker Place, I was hoping that I was able to, I could be able to do what Dana did, but I think I failed in that. So that's my reflection of the experience. And one thing I wanted to communicate or let you guys know is that I felt like I was a teacher for Makers Make Place. I felt like you guys were waiting for me to lead you guys, and you're just like sleeping on the couch. But I never meant or wanted this to be a course. It was just a time for you guys to come together and meet. And so, I don't know if it's because I'm here all the time, if it's because I'm a guardian and I appear to be as a teacher, but I wanted to make it clear that Makers Make Place and what just happened here is the same thing. And the reflections that you guys are supposed to write for the people up there, Aubrey, Jonathan, and I were recording this whole thing. And so if you guys want, we could use that as your reflection instead of making you guys write out a bunch of papers. Is that something you would want? Would you want other people to watch those videos?
Yeah.
I think what just happened is like the coolest thing ever. Like, you guys are amazing.
I want to have an applause for you.
Like, I'm so proud of you, but I don't even know what that means to say because why would you want me to be proud of you? But I am. I'm just, you guys are amazing, and I'm so honored to be here and be able to help you guys. So, yeah.
Get everyone home, I guess.
How do we get home?
Taxi to the door.
So you guys all want to go to the dorms, or does anyone want to go somewhere else?
I'm gonna probably drop these guys at dorm and I'll probably go home on a taxi. Maybe because now it's like a Friday night, Beijing is like a famous traffic jam, but I don't know when I'll get home, like 8:30 or something maybe.
Alright, so then I have a suggestion.